Disturbing online content after instructions on some devastating things and scary things like suicide popped up in the middle of a YouTube Kids video. YouTube did take down that content after a Florida mom and pediatrician made the discovery, but the mom says the video has popped up elsewhere. Dr. Ziegler is here with what you need to do to protect your kids from inappropriate content online. She's a Boulder psychologist and author of Mommy Burnout. And I want to talk to you about things that we can do, because it seems like it's inevitable at some point. Kids are going to see something that's scary online. They're on the computer, on their iPads, often, even at school.
Right. There are a couple of things we can do, and I think that parents just knowing these things will be really helpful. First of all, parents can there's parental settings on YouTube Kids that they should really get comfortable with. One of the first ones is you can actually turn off the search feature. So if you
can't go in and find something.
Right.
Okay.
Even if, again, it seems innocent, toy trains or whatever they're wanting to put in, you never know where that's going to lead. I always say they stray on YouTube. So you can turn that feature off. And another thing you can do is you can actually, as a parent, create a playlist so that you can be comfortable, whatever you think is comfortable, to have on a list, just like you would on iTunes. And that way your kid can only choose from those certain shows that they put on the playlist.
So you have had a chance then to preview them, put them on a playlist, and then hand over
That's right.
the iPad, whatever it might be.
That's right.
What else? What other suggestions do you have?
So one of the big ones I have really is also time. You really have to monitor the time. You can do that through settings, but I think as a parent, in terms of parenting, you need to do that through your own command as well. One show, because that's where you go astray. I think parents generally start off with going, sure, you want to go watch, Peppa Pig, or whatever it is you want to watch, Thomas. I'll be back. They go do something else. And
time goes so quickly.
Time just goes on. So I think time is also really, really important for kids to have that management.
Do you think it's important now, of course, we're talking different ages, to make them, and a different topic, to make them earn that time? Because I know, having a 9-year-old at home and teenagers, but the 9-year-old in particular, he'll want to do it all the time. So we find ways to earn the time for screen time.
I think at this point we know enough about screen time addiction to say it's pretty similar to sugar. And so you really want to look at it that way, right? You wouldn't just give your kids an unlimited amount, sit them with a bag of M&Ms and say, I'll be back later, right? We would try not to do that. So I think we have to look at it the same way. We are setting up toddlers and young kids for an addictive pattern if we don't regulate it very early on. So I'm a big advocate of no kids under 2 having access to screen time, and kids that are school age having at a maximum of 1 hour of screen time, and that includes computers and games and all those other things.
Boy, that's not a lot when you consider how much they really on, even at school, because they're playing some games, even though they're educational, so they're getting very used to that screen time. What about, so you're talking about if it's their computer or their iPad, but if you hand over your phone, you have to remember that the world is open to them in terms of the internet and so many other things they might find.
Absolutely. I think that's a boundary thing too. I think it's easy to just hand your phone over. I understand that, but you have to understand how many cases I know of kids who get into their parents' texting, who get into their Amazon accounts, again, they stray.
Oh boy.
So wherever you started, kids tend to go somewhere else.
Okay, and then lastly, if they do run into something scary, how do you have that conversation with them? How do you tell them? Because we don't know what they're seeing, and they might not know that what they're seeing is bad or wrong.
Yeah, that's a really important one. I will say first, kids a lot of times won't report when they see something scary because they don't even think of it as something too off. They're just sort of glazed over watching something. But if they do actually come to you and say, there was something weird, report it. Watch it, report it to YouTube, because usually they're pretty responsive. But the other part is to talk to kids about how the World Wide Web really does mean that you have access to anything and anyone, and really talk to them about strangers and inappropriate content and the importance of not straying off of whatever they said was okay to watch.
So important. Thank you for the suggestions. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. All right, let's take a look at our weather now, Chris.